Welcome back to the deep dive. We are continuing our sustained exploration into the architecture of Oliver's most ambitious project yet, his upcoming retrospective album, A Dawn on the Earth.
And it really is shaping up to be more than just a collection of songs. It's a direct conversation he's having with himself, isn't it?
Absolutely. A conversation between his, let's say, chaotic past and this very grounded present he seems to have built.
It's an audit. I mean, that's the word we keep coming back to. Structurally, it's an emotional and, I think, a moral audit.
Yeah.
It's designed to put the raw, sometimes really nihilistic energy of his 1990s demos right up against the stability he's found now as he's, coming up on his 50th birthday in 2026.
And our mission in this series has really been to try and understand that journey, that very difficult transition. We've spent a lot of time looking into the abyss he climbed out of.
We have the aggressive despair of a track like The City of Death, for example.
Or that cautionary moral failure that's just so perfectly captured in Hey Johnny. I mean, those tracks, they really define the darkness for us.
They set the stage. And so today, we're going to turn fully to the light of the dawn. We're going to focus on one of the key new tracks written in 2025.
A magnificent song.
It really is. It's titled Lone and Simple Life.
Now, this track is described in the sources as a Springsteen-like rock ballad, which feels... It just feels like the definitive, mature statement.
It's the proof.
Yes, it's the sonic proof of the victory he was fighting for, continuously, agonizingly, across his entire debut era. You can hear it especially in the later tracks of A Night on the Earth. This song defines his present life, anchored by his wife Dragana and his daughter Marina.
And because of that, this song stands as the living, breathing rejection of that fatal isolation, that choice of self-destruction that just plagued his younger self.
It's not just a happy song, then.
Oh, no, it's a documented achievement. So let's dive deep. Let's get into the specific mechanics of how this piece was actually won.
Okay, so let's unpack this choice of sound. I think we have to start with the genre classification itself. Why categorize Lone and Simple Life as a Springsteen-like rock ballad? I mean, especially when this subject is supposed to be domestic peace. Doesn't that whole sound usually imply, well, ongoing struggle?
And that's it. That is the crucial irony that makes the choice so brilliant. When you invoke Springsteen, you immediately summon a whole tradition of American music.
Oh, absolutely. It's a very specific sound.
It's the sound of grand narrative storytelling, and it's focused almost exclusively on the common man, right?
Yeah.
Fighting this long, relentless battle for dignity against systems, against internal demons, economic hardship, you name it.
It's the soundtrack of aspiration, of persistent effort. It's the music of the trudge, the sweat, the relentless work of just staying alive and holding on to a shred of hope against really long odds.
Precisely. So think about it. If Oliver had written just a simple, gentle folk song about domestic bliss, it might have sounded, I don't know, accidental.
Or unearned, maybe?
Unearned, exactly. But by using the genre of struggle, that rock ballad structure that's just designed for weary endurance, he's telling us that this piece in Lone and Simple Life isn't soft. It wasn't an accident.
It was fought for.
It was fought for over 3 decades, using the very endurance that defines the Springsteen canon. The music itself, the sound, carries the weight of the effort that it took to get to that stability.
But the parallel here is even deeper, isn't it? It goes right back to the specific architecture of this whole retrospective album. This 2025 track has to be seen as a direct response to the 1995 demo, Hey Johnny,
which the sources also describe as a Springsteen-like rock ballad.
Exactly. So this creates this profound moral and sonic symmetry right across the album's 30-year span.
Absolutely. I mean, putting those two songs side by side, that's the emotional core of A Dawn on the Earth.
Okay.
Johnny was the ultimate cautionary tale. It was the tragedy of the gifted individual who had it all, effortless external success early on.
But just had no internal infrastructure to manage it.
None. He just couldn't handle it.
We know Johnny chose that easy, simple path of chemical escape, the dope, overdoing the massive internal work required to handle his chaos. He surrendered.
He did. He surrendered to his demons, and it led to what we called his emotional checkout, his functional death, and with it, the total loss of his identity and his entire future.
And Johnny's tragedy was summed up so perfectly by his father's final epitaph in the song, which really served as a clear instruction for survival.
Fight as long as you can.
Right. And that instruction, delivered back in 1995, that became the moral mandate for Oliver's own life.
It had to.
But hold on a second. If that mandate, that instruction to fight, was so clear in Hey Johnny back in 95, Why did it take Oliver 3 decades to finally write the victory song, to get to Lone and Simple Life? I mean, doesn't that massive gap prove how monumentally difficult it is to actually obey the mandate instead of just, knowing it?
That's a critical question.
Yeah.
And the gap is the point. The 30 years, that's the agony of the choice.
Yeah.
Johnny chose surrender because fighting was just too hard. Oliver's struggle, which we've tracked across A Night on the Earth, shows the intense resistance he felt to that fight. He knew what he had to do, but he spent years, decades, struggling with the execution.
So the length of the gap is proof.
It's proof that internalizing the fight requires excruciating, continuous day-to-day discipline, and that is infinitely harder than just knowing the moral lesson.
So, hey, Johnny laid out the failure to obey the command. Johnny surrendered, and for all intents and purposes, he died. Emotionally.
And now, 30 years later, Lone and Simple Life is the successful outcome. It's the mature Oliver singing in the exact same genre, the sound of the relentless fight, but he's detailing the victory that was won by choosing that massive, uncomfortable effort.
It makes me think of the effort we heard documented in You're My Home. That was his initial, really raw struggle for stability.
Yes.
He literally said he was putting chains on my soul so it won't run away. I mean, that image of self-restraint is the direct opposite of Johnny's choice.
It's the perfect contrast. Johnny refused to put on those chains. Oliver chose the massive, uncomfortable effort of wearing them for 3 decades.
So the success that we hear in Lone and Simple Life is basically the dividend. It's the dividend paid on that investment in self-containment.
It is. It's the proof that the chains finally serve their purpose. And maybe, just maybe, he's learned how to live without them now.
And that leads us to the structural role of the song on the album. This isn't just a song of his own individual triumph, is it?
No, not at all. It's about the stability he built with his wife Dragana and his daughter Marina. You have to remember, Johnny's end was defined by fatal isolation. He drove away the baby, couldn't live with his chaos, he died alone.
Whereas Oliver's piece is defined by the shared future he's singing about with his family. It is the direct, tangible rejection of Johnny's tragic end.
He shows that the only way to beat that kind of isolation is through committed connection.
The symmetry is just. It's undeniable. The 1995 Springsteen track showed the path to destruction, and the 2025 Springsteen track shows the path to redemption.
A redemption bought by enduring the very struggle that Johnny refused to take on. And that, right there, gives this song a weight and a gravitas that's far beyond just a simple love song.
So let's get into the lyrical details, because the opening stanza immediately frames this piece not as a given, but as an achievement that is specifically located in time.
It does.
The opening lines use these beautiful, almost philosophical temporal paradoxes. Sooner than always, later than never, and then he reverses it. Sooner than never, later than always.
That language is fascinating. It's so deliberate. It implies that the piece he's describing is inevitable only because he is committed to the long, long process required to achieve it.
It takes away the urgency.
It completely removes the urgency of now that defined all his younger work. This piece exists outside of immediate panic time. It's a reflection on a future state, but one that only arrives after you endure a long, uncertain process.
It's the language of acceptance, isn't it? That good things take time and they require persistent effort. That's a concept that was completely foreign to the younger Oliver.
Completely. He was always demanding immediate, urgent answers. Tell me why, right now.
He believed that if something wasn't immediately obtainable, it was basically impossible.
And now the mature Oliver understands that the greatest rewards, they exist in that prolonged, sometimes painful middle ground. And notice the framing in the actual lyric. I'll be asking you for Lone and Simple Life. It's a request.
It's an active choice.
An active choice for simplicity. It's not a default state he just stumbled into, which is so important.
Right. The simple life is the goal, and it was purchased through all the complexity and chaos he just finished auditing for us in the first half of the album.
Precisely. The simplicity is hard won. And knowing that makes the transition to the next line this immense declaration he sings, when all the struggles are done passing by.
I mean, that line, to hear this narrator declare that his struggles are done passing by is just, it's monumental.
It is.
You have to recall his earlier work, especially The Depths of Despair and 3 Million Miles. The internal battle was constant. It was overwhelming. He says, I am fighting all those ghosts I have in life, but it seems they're winning this one fight.
The struggle wasn't just persistent. It was actively defeating him. The chaos was perpetually winning.
Yeah.
We saw him caught in that inescapable loop of lying, betrayal, self-sabotage. That was the thematic core of tracks like Life and Lies. He couldn't trust himself. The inner turmoil was terminal.
So, for him to declare that the struggles are done passing by, what does that really mean? It suggests the end of the agonizing cycle of self-sabotage and relapse.
Yes, that's the key. It doesn't imply that life is now a vacuum of challenge. Of course not. It means the self-destructive patterns, the running, the drinking, the impulse toward isolation, the betrayal, they no longer have that gravitational pull over him.
The battle is functionally contained.
Exactly. The ghosts are no longer winning. They are simply passing by. They have been externalized. They are no longer living inside him, dictating his behavior. This is the sound of deep, sustained internal healing.
I find that pivot fascinating. And how significant is it that he pivots immediately from the end of the struggle and goes directly into the concept of memory? The song immediately states, "And when the memories become a treasure."
That is the sound of total psychological integration. And it's arguably the most profound statement in the entire song.
Why do you say that?
Because in the past, his memories were purely painful anchors. Think back to Yes, I Know. He sings about burning pictures that still remain in my mind. The memory wasn't passive. It was an active, inescapable source of continuous pain that poisoned his present.
The trauma was raw. It was actively haunting him, forcing him to keep those chains on his soul just to stop from collapsing.
And now, all that pain from the past, the nihilism, the betrayal, the fear of death, that exhausting struggle, all those experiences have been processed, they've been transformed.
They're not crippling anchors anymore.
They are crucially valuable lessons. They are the treasure of endurance. What that's really saying is that the pain doesn't have its hooks in him anymore. It's now informing his present.
That reframing is the ultimate proof of maturity. He stopped fighting the past and he started using it as the foundation for his present.
He realized the depth of his commitment today is only possible because he remembers the cost of isolation. He remembers the pain of surrender.
And this wisdom he's gained from the struggle becomes the currency of his peace.
It does. Which brings us to the second time frame he sets up. He frames this simplicity around the quieting of the world. When all these noises just quiet down. We need to remember how deafening the noise of Oliver's past truly was.
And the noise wasn't just sound, it was systemic, right? You had the external geopolitical chaos of the 1990s, the collapse of systems that really underpinned the despair of the city of death, and that search for meaning and where is the justice. That's a lot of external noise.
A huge amount. But, I'd argue the internal noise was even more damaging. That manic, relentless running inside my veins, he confessed to in You're My Home.
It was a constant storm, emotional, mental. It prevented any kind of stillness or reflection. The heavy metal music of his youth was designed to convey exactly that existential extremity and confusion.
So the simple life he's asking for is defined by the absence of this past chaos. The quieting down signifies that the internal engine of self-destruction has been tamed.
And the external world's pressures have been managed. They're at a level where they no longer consume him or dictate his choices.
So peace, as defined by this song, is the quiet, continuous maintenance of order. It's not some sudden magical arrival of silence. It's the deliberate choice to subtract the chaos he once courted.
It's the difference between waiting passively for a dawn to come, which is what he was doing in 3 Million Miles,
Versus actively building a life where the quiet allows the commitment to his family to be truly heard and felt.
That brings us to the architecture of this hard-won stability. And the third stanza has what is maybe the most tender, forward-looking lyric, directly referencing his emotional anchor.
When she's all grown up and starts to fly.
Yes. And this explicitly links the whole concept of stability to his daughter, Marina.
Well, as we know, the entire A Dawn on the Earth project was conceived as a permanent legacy for her. It's a memoir of the man who battled his own shadows and won, so she would never have to doubt the foundation of her home.
And this vision is so profoundly mature. It defines true stability not as a fixed, unchanging entity, that concept his younger self tried to force with those chains, but as a structure strong enough to allow cherished things to leave.
To leave naturally and safely. The stability is mature enough to embrace change and independence.
It really is the ultimate achievement of a committed parent, isn't it? Creating a home foundation that is so solid and so loving that your children feel safe and equipped to launch themselves fully into the world.
It's the absolute antithesis of the isolated, terminal home of despair he craved in the city of death. Remember that. The narrator wanted to be buried alone, rejecting all future generations.
Right. But here, Oliver is building a launch pad, not a tomb,
Exactly.
which gives profound context to the core realism he expresses about his partnership with Dragana. This next couplet might be the most mature piece of writing on the whole album. He rejects all the cliches of romantic perfection.
You know I can't promise you forever. You know that there's no rainbow at the end.
I mean, what a statement. This is a huge seismic shift away from the younger narrator's desperate need for absolute impossible certainty.
Oh, that young man demanded a guarantee of finality. We saw that so clearly in his single To the End of Time. He was demanding a commitment that went till the end of time, right after he could barely manage to survive another day. It was a desperate, impossible promise.
So he's rejecting the utopian fantasy, the rainbow at the end, that fictional, effortless reward that the young and naive are always seeking as a destination for their struggle.
And in its place, he grounds their entire relationship in managed reality, in continuous mutual effort. But I can promise you that we can do better as long as we got each other's hand.
That promise is rooted in pragmatism, not poetry.
It completely is. It immediately shifts the narrative focus from the impossible destination perfection forever to the sustainable process.
Doing better.
Doing better. And this reflects that hard-won lesson that stability isn't a magical endpoint. It's continuous, shared commitment.
And that shared commitment, that's what we previously analyzed in the relentless 68 time signature of You're My Home.
Yes, that rhythm musically represents the continuous trudge. It's a rhythmic pattern that demands constant driving effort to maintain forward momentum. Lyrically, We Can Do Better is the continuous daily execution of that trudge. It is not an exciting 44 rock beat.
No.
It is the weary, steady effort of sustaining a relationship.
And the promise isn't based on grand external guarantees or magical forces. It's based on mutual accountability and just basic physical connection. Got each other's hand. That simple image reflects the profound understanding that stability is a conscious choice you make every single day.
A choice fueled by effort, not by utopian fantasy.
And the final picture he paints is the ultimate vision of domestic success. It's the true rejection of his earlier isolation he looks forward to. We will be sitting out on our terrace, watching our grandkids playing around.
The sheer detail in that image is striking, isn't it? It's not just we'll grow old together. It's an active, serene vision of a functional, multi-generational future.
This feels like the thematic culmination of the entire album's moral audit.
I think it is. The young, nihilistic narrator of the City of Death wanted only terminal isolation waiting to be buried down here. He rejected future, hope, lineage, all of it.
But the mature Oliver defines success not by fame or fortune, but by visible lineage, shared life, and the longevity of his partnership.
The home, the terrace, the presence of grandchildren, it's all functional, visible proof that he succeeded. He found true love and peace, finding hope.
And that image, specifically the terrace, it suggests an openness to the world and the future. That contrasts so starkly with the closed-off, isolated rooms and dark corners of his past songwriting.
He is literally sitting outside, grounded, and watching the lineage he fought so hard to create extend into the next generation. He chose creation and visibility over self-destruction and hiding. And as we move to the final moments of the song, the commitment solidifies, and we see this profound lyrical substitution that delivers the ultimate insight.
It circles back to connection first, maintaining that gentle, hopeful realism we'll hold our hands and wish for forever.
And that wish for forever is so gentle, so aspirational. It's a sweet desire, but as you said, we know it's preceded by the admission that they cannot guarantee it.
And the method of connection, that soft, simple act of holding hands, that feels crucial here.
Oh, it's incredibly crucial. It contrasts so sharply with the forced, almost violent stability of his earlier relationship, where the narrator in You're My Home had to put those chains on my soul so it won't run away.
The chains were necessary violence. The hand-holding is accepted solace.
Exactly. The chains are gone because the internal chaos is managed. The bond is maintained through gentle connection and shared presence, not exhausting internal restraint.
He has finally managed his soul to the point where commitment is not a prison, but a shared haven.
And that shift in emotional management leads directly to the final, really dramatic lyrical pivot. The song began by asking for a lone and simple life, right? Stating the desired state of being.
Right.
But it concludes with a striking substitution, and you repeats it for emphasis. I'll be asking you for long and healthy life.
That is a fundamental, profound shift in mandate. Why replace simple with healthy as the final repeated wish? It completely rewrites the goal.
It does. And this substitution implies that Oliver realized that simplicity is not enough. It's insufficient if you are too damaged or too exhausted or too unhealthy to sustain it or even enjoy it.
Ah, so the true value of the simple life is the ability to sustain it healthily, physically, mentally, emotionally over decades.
That's it. The simplicity is the setting. Health and longevity are the engine that allows that simplicity to endure. This transition elevates the goalposts entirely past the basic survival instinct that defined his younger self.
Absolutely. I mean, the younger Oliver was just fixated on bare survival in the depths of his chaos. You think of those frantic pleas.
Yes, survive today.
Keep me for another day for another day, or that desperate declaration, I don't want to die tonight, from the track of the same name.
Yeah.
His entire existence was just about avoiding terminal collapse.
And now the goal is no longer escaping death or avoiding chaos. The goal is enduring happily and healthily within the committed stability he has built with Dragan and Marina. He's looking 50 years ahead, not just 24 hours.
The fight mandate from Hey Johnny, fight as long as he can. It gets redefined here, doesn't it?
It's completely redefined. The fight is no longer just about survival. It's now about maximizing the quality and the longevity of the life he has achieved. The focus on health is the ultimate victory over nihilism because it requires continuous investment in the self, a concept the younger Oliver completely rejected.
This really brings us back to the dynamic of this whole deep dive. The song, Lone and Simple Life, it's not just another track on the new album.
No, it is the sound of applied wisdom.
Yeah.
It recognizes that true peace isn't absolute. It's the continuous, conscious decision to prioritize stability, shared effort, and health over running away and self-destruction. And crucially, it is anchored by a partner who accepts the imperfect reality, the lack of rainbows, in favor of that committed trudge towards doing better.
It's Oliver confirming that he's successfully managed his trauma, that he built a future that structurally rejects the nihilism and isolation that claimed the life of Johnny and threatened his own life in the city of death. It's the final declaration of earned stability.
So this deep dive into Lone and Simple Life really confirms its function. It is the definitive counterpoint to those nihilistic 1990s tracks that open a dawn on the earth.
Oliver's success, his dawn, is defined not as fame, but as functional domestic peace and the ability to look forward to grandkids playing around.
And this stability is the direct result of choosing that difficult continuous struggle, the fight mandate of Hey Johnny, over the simple relief of death or chemical escape that the younger generation in his songs so often chose.
He chose the shared trudge toward doing better every single day.
The ultimate proof of persistence.
Indeed. And it leaves us with this final provocative thought for you to consider as you await the full album. Oliver requests a long and healthy life, right after acknowledging that forever isn't a promise they can keep. For someone who has fought such immense internal battles against self-destruction and nihilism, does this suggest that the most profound declaration of victory isn't the certainty of infinity, but the grounded, continuous commitment to maximizing the quality of the life they have today?
It's a great question.
Is accepting the finality of struggle, the fact that struggles are only passing by, not eternally vanquished, is that the truest path to appreciating the precious present?
It seems the fight isn't over, but now he knows exactly what he's fighting for.
Longevity and quality.
And that grounded realism, that might just be the ultimate victory.
We'll continue this exploration next time. We'll be looking at the final new track that explicitly deals with this new, purposeful fight, fighting till the night. Until then, keep digging.